I don't like to argue, so I say nothing and fume for days.
How do I set boundaries without sounding like a jerk?
I hate the idea that I might accidentally offend somebody, so sometimes I'd just rather say nothing at all.
Welcome to the Language Alchemy Podcast, and thank you for joining me today. This is your host, Alejandra Siroka, a transformative communication teacher and coach who's devoted to helping multicultural individuals and couples on the path of transformation transform their lives and relationships through conscious communication. The last month of the year is a wonderful opportunity to reflect on our lives so that we can have a vision for the future and determine what habits and behaviors we want to continue and which we want to transform to fulfill our vision. During this time of the year, the last few months and the beginning of a new one is when people reach out to me the most for my support with communication coaching. A few weeks ago, I had a couple communication coaching consultation with a lovely couple. One of them asked me, Alejandra, how do I know that I need a customized communication coaching program? It was such a sincere question. He then asked, have you made a podcast episode about this? I'd like to hear you talk about this. So in this Q&A episode, I am going to answer that specific question. How do you know that you need a customized communication coaching program? And at the end, I'm going to give you some suggestions and steps to take action, because just having the information without taking action is not going to lead to transformation. And I know you are here because you are interested in transforming the communication habits that don't serve you in your life and to learn the tools that will support you in having a thriving life, which, by the way, only happens when you have fulfilling relationships. And of course, you build and maintain fulfilling relationships. How? When you can communicate consciously. Now, before I begin, I want to invite you to a 2-hour online workshop on January 1st. It's called Enjoy Thriving Relationships in 2024. This is a workshop I facilitated several times in the past that has helped people create a realistic vision for thriving lives and relationships and make concrete steps to fulfill it. To find out more and register for this 2-hour online workshop, visit languagealchemy.com/thriving relationships. Now, let's talk about how you know you need a customized communication coaching program. First of all, it's important to acknowledge that you are a unique individual with your own individual needs, your own communication patterns, and your own individual longings and desires. So when you sign up for a cookie-cutter communication course or communication coaching program in which you are going to learn communication formulas, that's not going to help you communicate authentically. This is one of the reasons why I don't teach formulaic communication. I teach people to communicate authentically, to be themselves. And while there are various reasons why it would be useful for you to give your communication an upgrade, I have divided these reasons into 4 categories. These 4 categories are based on the success that the hundreds of people I have supported have had with their communication and relationships in an authentic way. The first category is that you are not having the kind of life and relationships you want to have or that you say you want to have, despite all the books you've read on relationships and the relationship workshops you've attended or the years of therapy or hours reflecting on your meditation cushion, your journal, or your vision board. So you notice that the kinds of relationships you are having right now are unsatisfactory, or they're dramatic, or they're superficial, even though you dedicate time every week to mindful practices that help you cultivate a sense of inner peace and contentment. Despite all that, you're still not satisfied with your relationships. You tend to complain about your relationships and how others communicate and you believe that you communicate really well. And you don't understand why your relationships don't feel satisfactory to you. You may end up losing relationships, bridges get burned, and it feels like the rug gets pulled from underneath you more often than not. When you get honest with yourself, what you do know is that relationships feel difficult and somewhat mysterious. Somehow you find yourself having the same kind of arguments with your partner, the same kind of dynamics with people who you're close to. Or you are dating the same kind of person and can't seem to have a fulfilling, intimate relationship. Or somehow you end up with the same kind of boss or the same kind of roommates, and you want something different for your life. You are tired of same. You would like to feel closer to people. You would like to have enjoyable, long-lasting relationships. You would like to have a close circle of friends that you can count on. And you want to feel understood, respected, and loved. If this is you, this is a fantastic time to work on your communication and have a customized communication coaching program so that you can find out the unhelpful communication patterns you are unaware of and that you keep repeating. The second reason why it would be valuable for you to engage in a customized communication coaching program is that you are aware that you don't know how to communicate something that's important to you, something of value to you. So, for example, you say yes, and later you regret having said yes, because when you said yes, you didn't really know what you needed, what worked for you, or maybe you were afraid to say no. Or maybe now you know that you are allergic to vulnerability and you feel afraid to talk about something personal or intimate for you. Whether it is that you don't know how to talk about money with your partner without arguing about it, or you don't know how to offer real feedback to your coworkers and tell them that the work you're all doing is not going in the right direction. Or maybe it is that you are dating someone new and you're not able to let this person in. You are not able to share what's in your heart or what you truly want in life because you're afraid of being seen as too vulnerable, too insecure, too needy, too much. And so you either talk about trivial things that keep the relationship superficial, or maybe you use vague language that doesn't let the other person get to know who you are. And as a result, you feel like the other person doesn't really get you, doesn't really know you, doesn't really understand you. And at the end of the day, you either feel lonely because you don't know how to belong, or you feel insecure because you don't know how to communicate with confidence, or you feel misunderstood and you're unsure how to be more clear. In essence, what's happening here is that you don't know how to be authentic. Whether it is with certain people you'd like to be able to connect with, such as your family, a partner, someone you're dating, with yourself, or all of the above. So you consciously or subconsciously withdraw information from them. You keep things light and fun, while you write on your journal that you really want deeper relationships. This could also mean that you may be giving more importance to what others think of you than what you think of you, or what you believe others need rather than what you need. If you relate to anything of what I shared in this category, then it's time to work on your communication and have some customized communication coaching. Why? Because I can assure you that the people in your life who want to or who are ready to know you and love you for all that you are waiting for you to gift them the real you. Truth be told, you've been feeling in your heart that you too are longing to have the real you show up in your life with full capacity and full presence. So don't wait and look into a customized communication coaching program. Number 3, The third reason why it would be useful for you to upgrade your communication in this coming year is that your communication perpetuates a past version of yourself and does not represent the present version of you who can accomplish the future vision that you have for your life and relationships. After all the work you've done in therapy, reading books, going to retreats, you are now aware that when you communicate with certain people or in certain scenarios, you keep getting the same result. And that result doesn't help you feel like the mature, capable adult that you are. One of the ways in which you know that you are still communicating like the past version of yourself is that you're still conflict averse. And so when you communicate during conflict, your communication reflects a younger version of you. A version of you who was underdeveloped psychologically, emotionally, linguistically. You're still communicating like you learned to communicate when you were a child, or you still react like you used to when you were a teenager, even though that was years and years ago. So for example, maybe you feel like you're going to disintegrate when you hear feedback, or you don't know how to react differently when you get triggered. You get frustrated with yourself, with life, with others, and you keep doing the same thing. You feel angry and you always get defensive, or you always go on the offensive, or you get upset by the same things and you don't say anything. You shut down, you go radio silent, and you even ghost people. Or maybe you feel incensed about comments you hear or asks that others make of you, and you just want to disappear. And so you respond with a nervous laugh, or you say you don't have time to talk about this, or you get distracted in your mind by something more enjoyable so that you don't have to deal with this. If you're doing any of these things, then you are communicating like a past version of you and not like the capable, mature adult that you are. If you recognize now that this is you, then it's time to give your communication an upgrade, because in life, you will have conflicts in the future. You are going to get triggered. You will feel angry, frustrated, upset. And I can guarantee that this will happen. Why? Because you're human. In fact, this is going to happen to all of us, to me as well. So it's time you get customized communication coaching support to transform the way you react and show up in your life in relationships, especially during difficulty, during conflicts, when you get triggered, so that you can show up with the full capacity and maturity that you have now as an adult. And to be able to do all that, you need to learn to communicate differently. Now, the fourth category of reasons you will benefit from a customized communication coaching program is that you received the feedback that you don't communicate clearly, confidently, compassionately, or tenderly. Or maybe you got the feedback that you don't listen to others. And deep inside, you know this feedback is not just something annoying that others have told you. You know it's true. You know that sometimes you blurt things out loud that hurt others, but you have no idea how to apologize without feeling small and weak. You know that it's hard for you to admit when you've made a mistake, and so you try to cover it up by finding reasons why the circumstances were unfair, or justifying that anybody in your situation would have made the mistake, and you give long lists of excuses instead of owning up to what you did or said. And in some tiny moments, when you let yourself be honest with yourself, you know that you judge others as too much, too needy, too demanding, too unreasonable. You know that sometimes you judge them as less than you, less intelligent, less resourceful, less knowledgeable than you. And you get impatient with others. What I like to tell you is that if you keep going this way, despite the feedback you consistently receive from people around you, if you don't work on your communication, you will miss out so much on life and relationships. It's true that you may be more resourceful or knowledgeable than others. It's also true that if you learn skills to communicate with others with greater patience, greater gentleness, more compassion, if you learn to listen to others deeply, you will not only give yourself the gift of meaningful and enjoyable relationships, you will also increase your own resourcefulness, and you will attract more people around you who want to collaborate with you rather than avoid you. And if the feedback you keep getting is that you are not confident or clear enough, if you don't practice in a safe space with a communication coach who will not judge you, but who will teach you with skill and compassion how to communicate with clarity, how to communicate with confidence, then in the long run, that feedback that you're not communicating clearly or with confidence may greatly impact your self-esteem. If you identify with any of these descriptions in these 4 categories I just described, do not let another year go by without giving yourself the opportunity to fulfill your human potential and have thriving and meaningful relationships that can help you enjoy your life. And while this is such a gift that you can give to yourself and the people in your life, it's not always an easy decision. And I know that. Some people, when they come to me, they tell me, Alejandra, I do want to transform my communication and my relationships, but I'm scared. And of course, it's understandable to be scared. For decades, you have been communicating and relating to others in a particular way. And relating and communicating differently is new. The process of learning will get you into some temporary discomfort when you see your communication patterns with honesty. But when you learn to have a thriving life and meaningful relationships, it will be worth it. And that's why it's so important to know who to work with. I can tell you that if you were to choose me as your communication coach, something that I know how to do very well is to be your partner in your journey of transformation with gentleness, skill, and safety. Read any of the testimonials on my website, and you will read how person after person says that I create a safe and compassionate space for you to be able to transform your communication. In fact, one of the greatest compliments I received from a client was that he said, and I'm going to quote him, "I've been told I've been an a-hole so many times that I believed I was one until I worked with you. You never treated me like that. You never saw me as an a-hole. You helped me see that I'm kind, that I can be tender, and that I actually need kindness around me. I now know how to be firm when I need to and how to be compassionate too. And I didn't know this wasn't only what my wife needed from me. What I learned in this journey working with you was that that's what I needed from me and for me." Now, before we recap what you've heard in this episode, I'd like to share with you that in 2024, you will have various opportunities to work with me as your communication coach. You can work with me on a customized communication coaching program one-on-one. You can work with me together with your partner in couples communication coaching programs that are also customized. And in January, I am going to offer something that many of you have been asking me for a while, group coaching, which will also be customized. These group coaching offerings are by application and only open to 8 people. If you want to be part of that group starting in January, then submit your application right away to languagealchemy.com/group coaching. And like I said at the beginning, if you want to treat yourself to the 2-hour online workshop I'm going to facilitate on January 1st, then sign up now at languagealchemy.com/thriving relationships. I'm going to add all these links in the show notes. And now let's recap what you've learned in this Q&A episode. In this episode, a client asked me how to know he really needed communication coaching. So I shared with you 4 categories of reasons why it would be important that you have a customized communication coaching program. The first reason is that you are not having the kind of life and relationships you want to have. And you would like enjoyable, long-lasting relationships. The second is that you are aware that you don't know how to communicate something of value to you and be authentic with others, and you would like to learn how. The third reason is that you still communicate like you used to when you were young, and you're tired of this because you want to accomplish the beautiful vision you have for your life and relationships. And the fourth reason is that you got feedback that you don't communicate with clarity, confidence, or compassion. And deep inside, you know it's true. In the end, I invited you to my January 1st 2-hour online workshop called Enjoy Thriving Relationships in 2024. For that, check out languagealchemy.com/thriving relationships. And I also invited you to apply for my next group communication coaching that starts in January by visiting languagealchemy.com/group coaching. Thank you so much for listening, and a special thanks to Christian for asking that question and being the inspiration for this episode. May you have happy holidays. Until next week, and as we say in Argentina, ciao ciao. Original music by Gary LaPoe. You can find all links in the show notes at languagealchemy.com.